Welcome to Movie Vault, where we break down the most compelling stories in film and television. Today, we're diving deep into Arcane, Netflix's groundbreaking animated series set in the League of Legends universe. Created by Riot Games and animated by Fortich Productions, Arcane is not just a video game adaptation, it's a cinematic masterpiece. With a powerful story about family, war, progress, and identity, it delivers some of the most breathtaking animation, deep character writing, and emotional storytelling of the decade. At the heart of the story is a tragedy, a tale of two sisters torn apart by violence and fate. V, the tough and protective older sister who fights to survive. Powder, the younger sibling with a fragile mind who transforms into the chaotic and unhinged Jinx. But their story is just one piece of a larger conflict between Piltover, the shining city of progress, and Zon, the oppressed undercity beneath it. As science meets magic, power struggles and betrayals unfold, shaping the destinies of heroes and villains alike. This is your full recap of Arcane Season 1. Let's dive in. Episode 1, The Spark of Rebellion. We open in a city engulfed in flames and ruin. A battle has taken place, leaving smoke rising over a bridge. In the middle of it all, two young girls, Vi and Powder, walk through the wreckage. Their parents lie dead among the bodies. A massive, gauntleted figure looms over them, Vander. Vander, the leader of Zon's rebellion, takes them in, choosing mercy over revenge. He carries them away from the battlefield, signaling the end of the war, for now. Years later, V, now a streetwise teenager, leads her ragtag group, Powder, Milo, and Clagger, on a heist in Piltover, the wealthy city above. They break into a mysterious inventor's lab and steal some valuables, including strange blue crystals. But Powder, eager to prove herself, drops one of the crystals, triggering a cataclysmic explosion. Piltover's enforcers immediately crack down on Zon, seeking those responsible. Meanwhile, in the shadows, a new power is rising. Silco, a man with a deformed eye and a thirst for revenge, watches from afar. He has been waiting for a chance to strike back at Piltover, and this explosion gives him just that. Episode 2, Hextech and Monsters. In Piltover, we meet Jace Tallis, the man whose lab was robbed. He is a brilliant but reckless scientist, obsessed with Hextech, harnessing magic through science. Brought before the Piltover Council, he is warned by Professor Heimerdinger, a 300-year-old yordle, that magic is too dangerous. Meanwhile, Victor, a sickly but visionary scientist, sees potential in Jace's research. He offers to help him unlock Hextech's true power, defying the Council's orders. Back in Zon, Silco unveils his own secret weapon, Shimmer, a drug that mutates people into monstrous fighters. His first experiment? Deckard, a street thug who transforms into a hulking brute. As tension builds, the enforcers demand that Vander give up the kids. Vander refuses, choosing to protect his people. But in the shadows, Silco sees an opportunity to take Vander down once and for all. Episode 3, When Everything Falls Apart, Silco ambushes Vander, capturing him in a trap beneath the river docks. Desperate to save him, V and the gang launch a rescue mission. Using Vander's old gauntlets, Vi fights through Silco's men, nearly escaping with Vander. But then Powder, wanting to help, uses one of the stolen Hextech crystals to create a makeshift bomb. The explosion is devastating. Milo and Clagger are killed instantly. Vander is mortally wounded. Silco survives, but now holds the upper hand. Vi, heartbroken and furious, blames Powder for everything. She slaps her, calling her a jinx. Overcome with grief and guilt, Vi walks away. Before she can return, Vi is captured by an enforcer. Powder is left alone in the ruins until Silco finds her. Instead of punishing her, he embraces her. You're perfect. And so Powder dies. Jinx is born. Hashshire Episode 4, Time Skip, The New Order. Years have passed. Piltover is thriving, powered by Hextech technology. Jace is now a council member, but Victor is dying due to his illness, pushing him to dangerous experiments. Meanwhile, Zon has become a crime empire under Silco's rule. And Jinx? She is now Silco's top enforcer, deranged, volatile, and deadly. On the other side of the conflict, we meet Caitlin Kiraman, a sharp-witted enforcer who begins investigating the Hextech thefts, which lead her to a surprising discovery: Vi is still alive. Caitlin frees her from prison, and the two form an uneasy alliance. Vi wants to find Jinx, but Jinx believes Vi abandoned her. Episode 5-6, A Broken Reunion. Vi and Caitlin navigate Zaun, seeking allies. They encounter Echo, their old childhood friend, now leading a resistance group called the Firelights. Meanwhile, Jinx discovers Vi is alive, triggering her spiral into madness. When the sisters finally reunite, the moment is both beautiful and tragic, a glimpse of hope before it shatters. Jinx, seeing Caitlin with Vi, panics, thinking her sister has betrayed her again. She runs away in confusion and heartbreak. Episode 7-8, The War Begins. Victor, desperate to survive, modifies himself using Hextech, but kills his assistant in the process. Jace, now in control of Piltover's military, offers Silco a deal, Zaun's independence, in exchange for Jinx. Silco is devastated. Despite everything, he loves Jinx as his daughter. But before he can make a decision, Jinx captures Vi, Caitlin, and Silco. Episode 9, The Monster You Created. In a twisted, nightmare-like tea party, Jinx forces Vi to choose, her Jinx or Caitlin? Vi begs Powder to come back, but Powder is gone. Jinx is all that remains. In a fit of confusion and rage, Jinx accidentally kills Silco. His last words? I would have never given you up. With nothing left, Jinx fully embraces her insanity. She loads a Hextech-powered rocket launcher, her ultimate weapon, and fires it straight at Piltover's council, just as they vote for peace. The screen cuts to black. Explosion. End of Season 1. Final thoughts. Arcane is a masterpiece of animation, storytelling, and character depth. With jaw-dropping visuals, heart-wrenching betrayals, and morally complex characters, it has redefined what animation can be. If you loved this recap, subscribe for more deep dives into the best movies and TV shows. Until next time, this is Movie Vault, signing off. Welcome to Movie Vault. This is the complete, in-depth recap of Arcane Season 2, the long-awaited continuation of Netflix's visually stunning, emotionally gripping animated series set in the League of Legends universe. Where we left off. Season 1 ended on a jaw-dropping note. Jinx, now fully embracing her chaotic identity, fired her Hextech weapon, the Super Mega Death Rocket, straight at the Piltover Council chamber. The rocket hit its target, setting the city's fate ablaze just as the council was about to vote on Zaun's independence. With this devastating attack, Arcane Season 2 picks up in the immediate aftermath. Episode 1, Ashes and Aftermath. The ruins of the council chamber. The explosion rips through the hallowed halls of Piltover's leadership, leaving fire, smoke, and destruction in its wake. The once golden chamber is now a shattered ruin, its stained glass windows blown out, the ornate architecture reduced to rubble. When the dust settles, we see the aftermath. Several council members lie motionless, either dead or gravely wounded. Cassandra Karaman, Caitlyn's mother, succumbs to her injuries, her final words an unspoken plea to her daughter. Meanwhile, Councillor Bolbach, the Minotaur-like figure, struggles to rise but collapses from his wounds. Jace and Mel's survival. Jace and Mel, Medarda, remarkably, emerge unscathed. Mel, in particular, seems eerily unharmed, her golden armor glimmering as if it absorbed the brunt of the explosion. Jace holds her close, confusion and grief mixing in his expression. Why did they survive without a single scratch? Victor's desperate gamble. Elsewhere, Victor barely clings to life. His frail body, already deteriorating due to his failed Hexcore experiments, now suffers additional injuries from the explosion. With no time to spare, Jace rushes him to his workshop, where he finds the mysterious Hexcore, the pulsating, arcane-infused device Victor had secretly been working on. Jace, desperate to save his best friend, makes a reckless decision. He activates the Hexcore, and Victor is enveloped in a shimmering cocoon of dark energy. His transformation has begun. Episode 2, War on the Streets. Caitlyn's vow for vengeance. As Piltover reels from the attack, Caitlyn mourns the loss of her mother. The grief hardens into a single, burning purpose. Jinx must be stopped. She turns to Vi, her closest ally, expecting her to be on the same page. But Vi hesitates. Jinx is still Powder, her little sister. Vi's heart is torn in two, but in the end, she knows the truth. Powder is gone. The girl she grew up with is lost. With that, Caitlyn makes an offer. Become an official enforcer. Vi refuses at first. The enforcers were always the oppressors of the Undercity. But as chaos erupts in Zon, she realizes someone has to bring order. Zon's crime lords rise. Without Silco's iron grip holding the Undercity together, Zon descends into a brutal power struggle. Rival factions clash in an all-out gang war, turning the streets into a battleground of neon-lit anarchy. Silco's former lieutenant, Sevica, tries to maintain control, but without her shimmer-enhanced cybernetic arm, the crime lords refuse to follow her. Jinx, meanwhile, isolates herself from the chaos. But everything changes when she meets her biggest fan, a young street kid who idolizes her as a symbol of rebellion. For the first time in years, someone looks up to Jinx, seeing her as a hero rather than a monster. But her fractured mind whispers doubts. Every time she tries to help, she just makes things worse. Episode 3. The Noxian Invasion. The Memorial Attack. Piltover holds a grand memorial for the fallen counselors, but before they can even grieve, the ceremony is ambushed. Explosions rip through the crowd and chaos ensues. Just when things seem lost, a powerful new player enters the scene. Ambessa Medarda, Mel's mother, arrives from Noxus with an elite squad of soldiers. Her entrance is nothing short of cinematic. Clad in battle-worn armor, her presence commands respect and fear. She saves the day, but Mel knows her mother too well. This isn't an act of goodwill. Ambessa is playing a deeper game. Caitlin becomes the face of authority. In the wake of the council's collapse, Piltover scrambles to appoint new leadership. Ambessa suggests a temporary military dictatorship led by someone who understands both war and politics, Caitlin Kiraman. And so, Caitlin takes command, her new title granting her absolute authority over Piltover's forces. Gone is the wide-eyed idealist. Now she wears the uniform of a war commander, complete with a high-tech sniper rifle. Her first order, Zon must be occupied. Her first target, Jinx must be eliminated. This marks the beginning of a full-scale war between Piltover and Zon. Episode 4. Jinx's New Purpose. The resistance rises. With Caitlin leading the charge, Piltover's enforcers sweep through the Undercity. But Zon doesn't submit. Instead, a resistance movement forms, and Jinx, despite wanting to stay out of the fight, is thrust into the role of a reluctant leader. People start dyeing their hair blue in her honor, making her a symbol of rebellion. But when her young fan is arrested at a rally, Jinx snaps. She stages a daring prison break, leading to an explosive battle that cements her as the face of Zon's fight against Piltover. Episode 5-6, Victor's Cult and the Hex Core's Truth. Meanwhile, Victor emerges from his cocoon, reborn, transformed. His frail body is gone, replaced by a sleek, cybernetic form infused with arcane energy. He discovers he has the ability to heal others, particularly those afflicted by Shimmer's toxic side effects. But with this power, he unwittingly forms a cult of devoted followers in the Undercity. At the same time, the Hex Core's true nature is revealed. It's not just a tool, but a sentient, living entity. And it has plans of its own. Victor is no longer its master. He is its servant. Final episodes. The war reaches its climax. The final episodes deliver some of Arcane's most intense, heartbreaking moments. Warwick is revealed to be Vander, transformed by Singed into a monstrous cybernetic beast. Jinx and Vi face off in their most personal battle yet, ending with Jinx's tragic self-sacrifice. Echo, using time manipulation, creates a devastating loop to stop the final battle. Victor reaches his ultimate form, preparing to activate the Hex Core and rewrite existence. In the end, Jace convinces Victor to stop, and the war is averted. But it comes at a great cost. Jinx is gone, the sisters are separated forever, and yet, hope remains. Piltover and Zon, after years of conflict, stand on the verge of unity. The future remains unwritten. And that's how Arcane Season 2 concludes. If you enjoyed this recap, hit subscribe for more deep dive breakdowns of the best movies and TV shows. Arcane Season 3, full recap. Episode 1, Ruins and Reckoning. The season opens in the smoldering wreckage of Piltover's council hall, where the attack by Jinx has left devastation in its wake. The few surviving council members, most notably Cassandra Kiraman, declare an emergency state, blaming Zon for the assault. Vi, stunned by the destruction, desperately searches for Jinx, hoping to stop the inevitable war. But Jinx is gone, vanished into Zon's underbelly, leaving only chaos behind. Meanwhile, in Zon, Echo struggles to maintain control. Without Silco, Zon has fractured into warring factions, each claiming power over the Undercity. Sevica, former lieutenant of Silco, seeks to restore the old order through brute force. Others look for new leaders. But the biggest threat lurks in the shadows. Singed, still experimenting with Shimmer, is working on something far more dangerous. In the depths of his lab, a monstrous figure stirs. Warwick. Piltover, in retaliation for the attack, deploys enforcers to suppress Zon. Caitlin, grieving her wounded mother, is torn between duty and her growing loyalty to Vi. She is ordered to lead a mission to hunt down Jinx and any Zonites who resist Piltover's rule. As Vi searches for her sister, she discovers something terrifying. Jinx's Hextech-powered weapon was not destroyed in the explosion. It's missing. Someone has taken it. The battle for Zon's future has begun. Episode 2, The Veil of War. Tensions between Piltover and Zon escalate as skirmishes break out across the bridge. Caitlin, leading a reluctant enforcer squad, tries to prevent the violence from spiraling out of control. But many in Piltover, including powerful figures like Sheriff Marcus' successors, want retribution, not peace. Meanwhile, Vi finds herself caught between two opposing forces. Echo's Firelights, who want a free Zon built on justice, and Sevica's growing army, who crave vengeance. A new player enters the game, the masked revolutionary known as the Veil. This shadowy figure, wielding advanced Hextech weaponry, begins uniting Zon under one cause: total war against Piltover. The Veil promises Zon true independence, but demands absolute loyalty in return. Vi is suspicious. Who is the Veil? And where did they get access to such powerful technology? As Piltover and Zon teeter on the edge of war, Jinx reemerges in the most unexpected place, inside Singed's lab. Episode 3, Monster and Maker. Jinx, wounded and lost, has taken refuge with Singed, but her mind is breaking, torn between the voices of Silco, Vi, and Powder. Singed, ever the scientist, sees opportunity in Jinx's instability. He offers her something she's always wanted: clarity. A way to silence the chaos in her mind. All she has to do is submit to his experiments. Deep in the lab, Singed continues his most terrifying project yet. A monstrous figure looms in the shadows, a heavily mutated being, infused with Shimmer and Hextech. Jinx, peering closer, recognizes something familiar in its twisted form. Singed whispers one word: Warwick. Elsewhere, Caitlin, trying to prevent all-out war, infiltrates Zon to negotiate with Vi and Echo, but she is captured, delivered straight to the Veil. Vi, desperate to save her, finally unmasks the Veil, and she is horrified by what she sees. Episode 4, The Noxian Shadow. The Veil is revealed to be Jericho Swain, a cunning Noxian war strategist. For years, Noxus has watched Piltover's rise, waiting for a moment to strike. Now, with Piltover and Zon locked in conflict, Swain offers Zon an alliance. Noxus will grant them independence and power in exchange for their loyalty. Some in Zon, desperate for freedom, consider his offer. But Vi and Echo know the truth. Noxus doesn't liberate, it conquers. Caitlin, now a prisoner of Swain, fights to escape. In the chaos, she learns something shocking. Jinx is alive and working with Singed. Worse, Singed has finally perfected his most dangerous experiment. The monster known as Warwick is loose. Vi, torn between saving Caitlin and stopping Warwick, makes her choice. But before she can act, a haunting growl echoes through the city. Vi? Episode 5, The Beast Unleashed. Warwick, once Vander, the man who raised Vi and Jinx, has been fully transformed. A monstrous, mindless weapon, programmed to hunt and kill. But something in him stirs when he sees Vi. Vi tries to reach him, pleading with him to remember who he was. But before she can break through, Jinx arrives, watching from the shadows. Powder whispers in her head, telling her to help. But Jinx wants to destroy. The voices inside her battle for control. The war explodes. Noxian forces launch an attack on Piltover, using Zon as a pawn. Echo and the Firelights lead the resistance. Sevica, seeing an opportunity, sides with Swain, wanting power at any cost. In the middle of it all, Caitlin finally escapes and reunites with Vi. But it's too late. Jinx makes her choice. She shoots Warwick, sending him plummeting into the abyss. Vi screams. Jinx, looking at her sister, whispers, "You never needed saving." And then she disappears into the darkness. Episode 6, The Last Stand. Piltover burns. Zon erupts in rebellion, and Noxus tightens its grip. Echo and his Firelights refuse to let Zon be enslaved, rallying the people for one final stand. Caitlin and Vi fight together, their bond stronger than ever. Swain, watching the chaos, believes he has won, but he underestimates the people of Zon. In a desperate gambit, Vi and Echo lead a direct assault on Swain's command center. The battle is brutal, but just as Swain prepares to execute V, a blast of blue energy erupts. Jinx has returned. But she is not the same. Her body pulses with a strange glow. Her mind is quiet. The chaos is gone. She looks at Swain, grins, and says, "Boom!" The explosion sends Swain's forces retreating. Noxus pulls back. The war ends, but at a heavy cost. Zon is free, but at what price? Final scene, the experiments end. In the wreckage, V searches for Jinx, but she is gone. Caitlin, wounded but alive, reaches for Vi's hand. "We're not done yet," she says. Deep in Singh's lab, the final twist is revealed. Jinx wakes up on an operating table. Her eyes glow unnaturally. Her hands tremble, but her mind is finally terrifyingly clear. Singh leans in and whispers, "Now, you are perfect." Cut to black. Final thoughts. Season 3 of Arcane delivers its most intense and emotional chapter yet. With Jinx transformed, Warwick's fate unknown, and Zon finally free, but at a devastating cost. The future is uncertain. What has Singe done to Jinx? Is Warwick still alive? And with Noxus lurking, is Zon truly free? The stage is set for an even darker battle ahead. To be continued.